Are we having a party here? I don't know.
Welcome to Polishing Profits. Join our 3 industry experts boasting 140 years of experience as they unlock building service contracting secrets that can revolutionize your business.
Well, here we are again. Polishing Profits. This is your place to get solutions to your most pressing BSC problems. And I have no clue what episode we're on, but today we're going to talk about I've lost track of the episode.
They all run together.
Yes, they all flow together. Our big topic is year-end planning checklist, a little 40,000-foot view we're going to cover again today. This is the second of 3 parts for this, if you're counting. And today we're going to talk about getting ready for next year, market analysis and customer feedback. So who you're going to bring on and how you're going to keep your customers longer so you can get more from each of them and keep them longer, improves your profits. But it's all about relationship. I was talking to somebody the other day, and what was it? Remember Gerber baby food?
Yeah,
Babies are our business, our only business, used to be on the can. Just change the word to babies to relationships are our business, our only business. That's it. We're relationship. It's with the people doing the work for us and all the technicians, and it's with the customers receiving the work, and we're the conduit. It's with our suppliers. Unless you have a big building, 90% of every dollar you're working on is going to people. So you should be good at it and should want to know how to get better at it next year. And we're going to give you not tricks, but some tips that you can go back and think through on your business and apply to it while you're thinking of next year coming up. With that said, Eduardo in the electronic janitorial closet somewhere buried deep in the sands of Florida.
I'm in the bowels of the electronic janitorial closet.
I've been threatening. We're still going to do where all that electronic janitorial closet comes from.
Well, that's all right. Somebody was telling me about the shorts on, I guess, LinkedIn
YouTube.
and on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, they got all kind of reels, shorts. Yeah.
I got my silk boxing drawer shorts for that. So
that belongs on TikTok, man.
Yes.
That's a million hit TikToker.
Well, I'm not going to model them, but
oh, nuts! I thought you were going to put your Santa hat on and go for it. All right, Sharon, what do you have to say hello today?
You're moving on to me.
I'm moving on. Ed's getting.
I'm not putting my shorts out there.
He belongs on Twitter. He's going to X.
Yeah. So
anyway,
market, customer surveys, getting feedback, such a key. That's almost, in my opinion, as important as supervision in your delivery of service. The customer connection. And we're not a transactional industry.
Right.
More businesses are moving to being so nobody has to do anything but click a button and you've got all your answers. In our industry, that's never has worked, and it's not going to work going forward. We are a relationship-based industry, very much so, more so actually on the commercial side than on the residential side, believe it or not. The consumer, the B2C, is more click, pay here, buy, give me fast service, send somebody tomorrow. On the commercial side, the B2B side, customers want to know who they're dealing with, and they want to know that they've got somebody that they can call and that you've got their back and you're going to be there for them. So getting to know your customers, understanding their needs, their pains, what it is they need from you by communicating, and then following through with the customer, getting their feedback, having a customer portal. In the old days, we had logbooks, and believe it or not, somebody that I am working with now had just had a proposal from a huge competitor, a huge national franchise that is still using logbooks. That kind of blew me away. There were those out there. But it's a communication tool, and if it works for them, so be it. But understanding what your customer is really thinking is the key. Because you may go along every day thinking you're doing well, your customer's pleased, But unless you talk to them and unless you know how they're feeling, you're operating with blinders.
And that begins way before you actually get the keys. There's an awful lot of prep and an awful lot goes into just getting to the point where they'll hand you the keys.
Right.
Yep.
You know,
Exactly.
and I always love the questions about, well, listen, what do you think about sending out postcards? It's like, well, if I send you a postcard, can I get the key to your house?
That makes a very salient point,
Post-
Ed. Yeah. The absurdity.
Postcards are great if you're selling a pizza.
Yeah.
Or if you're driving them to the website to sell them something. Other
Yeah.
than that, not
Yeah.
a whole lot. So I get to do the wrap on this, and I'm going to go quickly. I'm using a list of things that we did in our business. And as far as customer surveys and feedback, relationship, you have to know what your customers are thinking. And like Ed said, it starts way back before they ever hand it to you. And to Sharon's point, no news is bad news.
Right.
No news is bad news. There's no such thing as no news is good news in this business. And those of you that have been around a while are got to be shaking your head up and down or
Yep.
chuckling, because we've all been burned by no news is good news. So five things. Go ahead, Ed.
I just want to say it's worth it at this point, okay, for Sharon to tell the story about walking in to the new account asking, how's it going?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go, Sharon. That's a good
That's
story.
one of my favorites.
So had a new account, went to it the night of, the first night, of course, and I thought everything was great. Called my customer the next day. Now, that was my number one mistake. I should have gone in person. But I called my customer and I said, Mr. So-and-so, this is Sharon and from the cleaning service, and I'm just checking to see how things went last night. And his answer to me, which rocked my world and changed my perception of the industry and my strategy from that day forward, his answer to me was, Sharon, that's something you should know. I'm not going to tell you how it went last night. That's your job to know how it went last night. Forever from that day, I made sure I knew, and I visited in person, and I said, things are great, right? That was
Good
that was
lesson.
an eye-opener. But he did me a favor.
That was a classic, Sharon. That was a
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah, he did me a favor.
So I'm going to give you 5 things to look up and to think about how to have a better relationship with your customer, know what they're thinking, anticipate their needs, be in front of the problems. And the whole idea of this is to improve retention, because the longer you keep them, you add to your business rather than replace lost business. So let me just scroll down to my cheat sheet here. So the first thing is do an NPS. That's a net promoter score. All these things take very little time, but these are key things proven for any business that you have to have in place in your business one way or another and be monitoring these things. So a net promoter score. And that basically says whether you ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, would they promote you? There's ways to measure this. There's metrics to it, but you can send them a net promoter score. It takes them approximately 2 minutes to do one for you. Gives you valuable information. CSATs, customer satisfaction scores. The old thing, scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate? And again, there's a metric for that. Anything less than an 8 on either of those scores, you're asking questions about what's wrong. Do you know why your customers are leaving? So do you know what your customer churn rate is? So it's the end of the year. Who have you lost? Who have you won? Why did you lose them? Understand your churn rate. That's going to improve doing better for your prospects, your prospective customers, and it's going to help you take better care of your current customers. Fourth is what they call, you'll know this, you'll recognize it, but it's called a CES, or a customer effort score. And a customer effort score determines the relative effort required by a customer to work through an interaction. And if you all have had to call anybody recently to get something fixed or find a new password, you know how painful that can be and wonder, are you folks measuring this? Well, with us, it's the speed to which we get things identified, find the solution, get the solution implemented. So how easy is it to work with you? And there's a metric for that. And again, I'm not going into these. You can find all of these quickly on Google, but things to think about. Are you watching these things in your business? And let's see, did I miss something here? Nope, churn rate, customer. And the final one is the average resolution time. This shares a space with the customer effort. So how hard, how easy are you to work with? And the final one is time to resolution, T2R. And we measured this constantly. Customer average resolution time is the measured time it takes to completely resolve an issue from when the customer tells you about it to when it's fully resolved and you get there, okay, okie dokie, we're good, let's move on with life. You manage and look at these things, you're going to learn how to run your business better, take better care of your current customers, and you're going to outshine the competition when you start telling them about how you measure success with them and stay on top of your business. So that wraps my side up. So that covers customer survey and feedback. And Sharon, we're going to jump back over to you. Number 2, competitor analysis. You wanted to cover that one, so we'll let you go.
Okay, so cover customer analysis. That's an important segment and something for you to analyze at your year end. How is your customer evolving? What changes have they made in their business? What is their pricing structure? There have been times when I had my business when I did a proposal and the customer, prospective customer, when I asked if they had a budget for this particular work, this project, they would bring out a copy of the contract of their current service provider. And I could see the pricing, I could see the number of people, I could see everything. That was a golden nugget right there. But that doesn't always happen. So sometimes you have to make phone calls. Sometimes you have to, on the residential side, it's a little easier because you can call them and have them come to your house or someone's house and give you a quote and you can figure out their financing. If you can get a budget number, if you can see a contract, sometimes you get none of that. But trying to get as much information about your competitors and how they're operating. We had one in town that I know every time she would win something over me, I knew it was price because she was a lot lower than me. And I would always ask if I didn't win a contract, I would always ask, would you be willing to share with me the contract price that this was awarded? And some would have no problem with it and others didn't. But if you don't ask, you'll never get an answer.
You know, I love Mark's approach to it because it was an autopsy.
Yes.
That's what we called it too.
That's perfect. That is a perfect, explanation. So
yeah.
Ed, you also queried a lot of other people to get competitor information, and you want to tell us about your thought on gathering competitive information?
You know, it was funny because what happened was when I started, I didn't realize how important information was. And one of the things I paid real close attention to was when somebody would hand me, a prospect or a client would hand me their previous contract.
Yep.
So it was relatively simple to translate that. Now, the other thing is getting information on your competitor would come from prospects. I came from a hyper competitive marketplace to one that was evidently not quite as competitive. And the whole idea that, what are the competitors doing? I asked a property manager of a really nice building, the kind of office building that I used to like. And I said, so how often do cleaning salespeople come in here? They said, oh, how often do I get cold called? And I said, yeah, how often? Said, oh my God, it's constant. It never stops. It's once a month. That was constant as far as she was concerned. Okay. Now, where I come from, okay, there's 5 competitors in 5 days a week before lunch.
Yeah.
So
one of our largest customers that we had, I asked them one time in a meeting, and I said, so on average, how many competitors call you? And he said 15 a month. And he said, those are the ones that come to me. He was the director. He said, there's a lot that try to go through the chief financial officer or the COO. The other point, Ed, I want you to talk to briefly, we did in the pre-show, was when you hire somebody from one of your major competitors. You made a really good point about that. You want to speak to that just briefly?
Yeah, I was always curious, like, well, how did it go over there? What was your job? What was your location? What was going on there that was good? What was going on over there that was bad? What's your estimation about, the last place you were, and what are you hoping is going to happen here with us?
And
Just open it up to them.
yep, open it up, and we did that too. And
Yeah.
it take you might not get much the first month, but the second or third month they're there, it starts eking out.
Yeah.
We didn't do it this way over here, and oh my god! So
Yeah.
I'll wrap the competitor analysis, and there's a lot to this. Websites. I'm going to say it in one word.
No.
If you know who you are regularly competing against, and you have not been out and studied, I mean printed and circled, their offering, their propositions, their differentiation, what they say they are going to do and how they're going to do it, then shame on you. You're going to lose a lot at the negotiating table, or if you make the cut for the top three, because you have to know how to talk about what you do that your competitor doesn't do and how you do it differently. Trends in industry changes. Ed, we're going to let Ed solo on this one. And I think you just stay on your one key idea. There's a lot here, but we were talking about something pre-show that I just want Ed to talk to briefly. And that was on the Internet of Things and buildings and something called cleaning on demand. I've been reading a lot of things about the IoT and building automation, as well as Ed. So Ed, you want to talk to that, how that might change the landscape here, maybe even in the next 12, 24 months?
Well, I got a question, okay?
Okay.
What makes up a smart city? Smart
I
building.
got a question. What? Yeah, okay.
Smart buildings make up smart cities, okay? Who's going to be cleaning smart buildings?
Smart contractors?
Smart. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Okay. All right. Now think about the big picture. Okay. Some of, a little bit of what we're going through right now is that there are people that are putting up a fight about going back to the office after the COVID, whatever the hell that was. So the whole issue is, do we really need this much space? Because remember, they pay for every square foot. Every square foot is producing money for the owner and is coming out of the tenant's pocket. Okay. Yep. So one of the things that I have seen that will, in my opinion, it'll continue to grow. Okay. And most of the time I'm right about these things. I've been wrong on a couple of things, but I've hit it on the head a couple of times. But the expanding your capabilities is really your only hope for the future. If you're standing on the idea that, look, we have a cleaning service and we dust and sweep better than those other damn pimps. Okay. That's not going to cut it.
Is that your value proposition?
That's the value proposition.
Checking. Just making sure I'm tracking here.
Oh, what do you want? I'm a city boy that's cleaning city buildings. So.
From the where were you from in New York? Greenwich Village?
Yeah, Lower East Side of Manhattan, Greenwich Village. Yeah.
The other thing, touch row cleaning on demand. So and I'll tell you what, I've read things from JLL, CBRE. They're all talking about these things. If you're out looking, these things are getting hot because with artificial intelligence, I read one the other day, and I'm not going to do it justice, about reading everything in the building with the BAS, the building automation systems, and then giving feedback about what you should do. And you're saying cleaning is going to become part of that. Like now it's HVAC is pretty simple and other, security issues. But you're saying cleaning is going to fall under the preview of analysis and let's do what's needed. You want to jump on that?
It's going to be the same as the sensors for the lights.
Okay.
We got offices that when you walk in, the lights come on, and when you leave, the lights go off. Okay. That's a perfect picture of what we could be looking at with the cleaning. Okay. Because if you think about it, it's all measurable. How many people came into the building? Okay. What was the weather like as they were coming into the building? Okay. What we can do is we can look for trends in there and then make a guess about what's going to happen and then monitor it. Okay. So the IoT people that I've been in contact with, okay, they're saying, hey, look how much could be saved to a property owner. It's like, ooh, now we're talking, saving money. They always listen to that. They always listen.
Well, yeah, they've got to run. And again, tenants are leaving, fewer people are coming into the buildings. And to hitchhike off that real quickly, because I think it's an important subject, looking future. What is our business going to look like in the future? I read one of those, and I forget where it was from. Same thing you're talking about. They actually put motion sensors in that determine the amount of people using the area and the length of time they were using it. So in other words, who's in the office, where are they using it, and what are they doing in it? And then start doing your cleaning programs according to that. Now I'm jumping off. They were looking at other issues, usage, wear, repair, but I could see cleaning, to your point, falling into that same thing. Hey,
Well,
we only need to clean the conference rooms twice a week. It's because we know how often they get used. Go, Sharon.
There was a saying that I heard at a conference, actually a BSCAI conference years ago, and it was by Richard Flint, who is someone that I follow, who's a motivational speaker. His theory was, if you do business today the way you did business yesterday, you won't be here tomorrow.
Oh, that's excellent.
I have kept that mantra for a long time.
That is the truth. I mean, and it's a story, business in general.
Yes.
It's the way it works.
If you don't change and move with the trends and stay up with them, you really have to embrace the change, but you have to engage and get involved and learn. You have to be a lifetime learner and always read and learn and keep up with the industry.
I'm just going to put, before we move on to target audience refinement, it's funny how as we sit here and talk, you think of examples of experiences that you've had in the past.
Yes.
And to that point, we did a lot, millions of square foot of clean room. We were one of the top people in the Northwest for that. And I remember we had a 1 million square foot account, and a competitor, it was back when the flat mops were just coming in, and they were never used in clean rooms. They weren't allowed. They particulated. I can go into all the reasons. Well, my competitor had figured out, they had found ones that don't particulate that were clean room certified, and they moved a 48-inch flat mop against our regular approved string mops, and they cut the time in a third. I lost the contract.
Oh,
now, that wasn't the only reason, but that's how they got the foot in the door, talking to the right people. And it took about 8 months, but I wound up on the short end of that stick because I didn't realize something had changed. That's simple. But going from the standard, swing mops you used to use in clean rooms, or the pull mops, there's a ton of different things, pick one. But all of a sudden they came up with this, and they brought it from someone they were doing in Europe. And the next thing I know, I'm underbid and I'm out on my can. Tough experience.
All
right. Target audience refinement. We're going to go quickly on these. I see we're coming up on our approved half hour, which we always seem to go over. But Sharon, you want to jump on target audience refinement?
Yeah.
I can't read. Yeah. It's the coffee, and no, there's no bourbon in it. Target audience refinement.
There might be Kahlua in it, but we won't.
Not yet. It's only 10 o'clock out here. I'd have to be on vacation. Go ahead.
We're in the afternoon where we are. Yeah. The target audience refinement. So as your business changes, so does your customer. And it becomes one of your main responsibilities to keep up with those customer needs. Things can change physically in their space. They can get different flooring, they can get new furniture, they can get new surfaces that you'll need to change. So you need to keep up with that. And that happens during your quality visits or your visits with your customers. You're aware of those kinds of things. But you need to change the way you present your products to your customers as they change. And then your entire demographic also can change. People that you had great success with early on, maybe not so much now. And you need to find a different demographic. So always staying on top of who your customer is, how you're servicing them, what products you're offering, and how they're changing is the key.
Yeah, that brought to mind going to the flip side of that. If your customer is changing, your prospects are changing. So with your sales collateral, your marketing collateral, your website, and your positioning. And I always go back to a lot of this. Target audience refinement. Have you been not winning as many bids as you should, or are things changing? Do you have the right message? Message to audience, message to market is critical. And at the beginning, fourth quarter, we used to always look at, are we saying the right things to get somebody to pay attention, to raise their hand and say, hey, I want to hear more? Because you have to talk to them. What's the problem? So it's the old PAS thing: problem, agitation, solution. And all your marketing ought to cover that. What's the problem? How is it hurting you? Where's the pain? And how we bring a better solution. And those change. I mean, look how fast this industry's changed since COVID and what people think. We thought forever that now they would all be into the sterilization and the disinfecting and everything else. And as soon as the virus left the United States, so did everybody's interest in electrostatic spraying. Not completely, but it died back down until
there was a whole bunch of them for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when you couldn't find one and you'd pay triple?
Yep.
Yes.
Now they'll pay you to take 5 away for $10, So anyway, just some things we're trying to give you things to think about. How do I do better next year? And am I looking at everything in my business again? 40,000 foot view. Market expansion opportunities. We don't want to go too deep in that because everybody's at different levels. But what kinds of things would you two guys look at for market expansion opportunities? Just things to think about if you're in the $1 to $2 million a year area.
I would look at geographic expansion and where that might take me, and then also diversification within what I'm already doing. What are additional services I can provide? So geographic and services would be where I would
give more wallet share from your current customer, doing verticals that make sense. So that could be upsell, cross-sell, bundle, could be landscaping, security, whatever you can get a partner with or you can do. And with all my clients, and even when I'm on these things, I preach, go back to your scope of work and see what they need that wasn't listed. So in other words, they've got a garage, but there's no pressure washing. There's an upsell to the current contract. They don't have any carpet cleaning. There's a carpet cleaning program you can offer. It doesn't have. So these are things that you want to go back through. And we did this at the beginning of a bid process. We looked at everything that wasn't in the contract and identified our ability to upsell, cross-sell, and bundle. And that could allow us to be more, Ed's nodding his head, he knows where I'm going. That allowed us to be more competitive. And we had to shave a point or two off to make the cut. We knew we could do it because we could pick 10 points up in the things that weren't called out in the scope. And that doesn't count the things that we don't do, like landscaping, painting, and that we sub out, but we are the general for. Ed, you're nodding. Give us some thoughts.
Yeah, no, I had an experience where I was working with a company, and one of the things was that they had it was a dreadful operation, just terrible operation. But what they had though was they had a brilliant way to do their tag work. And so the way it worked out was he had one truck that was producing $200,000 of work. Okay.
What volume of business? How big was your company?
This was a long time ago when $200,000 meant something. Okay.
Which today's $500,000 probably.
Yeah, absolutely. But what he was able to do really was brilliant for such a dreadful company. One of the things that I've seen working with all the companies that I have, it's almost like everybody does something really well.
Mm-hmm.
And for everything that they do well, there's two things that they do horribly.
Okay.
And so by picking through, it helps crystallize for the next client. Look, this is what I learned here. This is what we're going to do here. So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
My question back to you real quickly, what in the world were they doing to drive $200,000 worth of additional revenue that impressed you?
Well, he had figured out early on about specifications, standard, and so he had everything standardized. And what I did was I went through his standard service program and I started crossing things out. I said, look, this could be an extra. This can be an extra. And by the way, what we can do is we can be more competitive. okay, by pulling some of these things out and providing them. At any rate, at one point, he turned around to some folks in the other office. He says, "Hey, this guy's great. He's got this thing written. So, I mean, we don't even have to show up." So, but it's an opportunity to provide services that are maybe a little bit outside of the norm for you individually.
Right.
And people say, and I've heard this, well, I don't always want to be asking or looking like, you're not. These customers have what they call a job to be done. And outsourcing the cleaning's job one. You've got landscaping, you've got a ton of stuff not included in that scope. And if you're doing the work, they're happy with your quality and your price is right, you stand about an 80% chance of winning new work, particularly if they've got to bring an outside contractor and learn them. And your chances of signing that are 17 times more than signing new business.
Right.
And we'll leave it at that. We're going to wrap up. One of the things on market analysis and customer feedback, which is what we're talking about, is understanding your bid opportunities for Q1 for the new year. Sharon, you want to lead us off on that one as we close up?
I think that has got to be part of your marketing strategy and your marketing plan, how you're handling what opportunities are coming your way. Where are you connected with the bidding opportunities? Is it online? Is it some of the resources that you're a paid subscriber and you get bidding opportunities that way? Is it your networking? Taking a look at what Q1 looks like in terms of your projected revenue, which also includes the budgets, which we mentioned in our financial discussion last time, that the budget have to be set out. So just sitting down and doing it, getting it done.
Yeah, we kept an Excel spreadsheet. And basically, when we look at the end of the year, we look out to Q1 and we look at the bids out and the ones we thought had X percent chance. We always looked at least a 70% chance of signing. So we knew what we were possibly going to sign based on our close rate and interest. And then we looked at all the opportunities. People said, I want to bid. And we would look at that and look at the chances of, are they going to call us? Because you know how that goes. Well, we're going to bid in the next 90 days. And, it's the end of the next year before they call you again. So we were always looking at what's out and what's going to become realized and what is an actual, and not this. The United States government is going out to bid in Q1, and we're going to put out $3,557 trillion of bids with zero chance of winning. That's not what we tracked. We looked at actual things, and they are ideal customers. We get back to the other point you talked about, target audience refinement. We knew who we wanted. We knew what they wanted. Were we a match? And that's how, besides our actual close rate, we could decide who was going to move and who wasn't going to move. So we looked at real dollars, waiting for answers, and number of dollars we hope to get out Q1.
Well, connected to that is who we're not going to do business with.
We scratched a lot of that stuff, particularly when we had salespeople. I'd look at that thing and I'd laugh. No.
Oh, God, yeah.
We're not going after this.
Yeah, there's been some horrible stuff with salespeople.
Well, and it's all put in this, but it's put in the sales funnel as opportunity. The problem is we were all small businesses, despite how many millions we did. When you got the company owner looking at this stuff, they're going to call BS. You get in larger companies and all they do is look at the funnel and go, well, that's lovely. Ooh, 40% chance. Well, the salesman's just stacked the deck. That's a whole nother conversation. So that brings us to the end of this episode. And I'm going to ask one question. I'm going to do this for the next few episodes, but I'm going to pick Ed today, and then we'll get Sharon in the next one as we're wrapping up the year, and I'll do the final. Ed, I get asked a lot of times by people when they watch the podcast, why do we do this? I mean, we're all retired. We're done, yada, yada, yada. We're not really retired, but,
I was going to say, whoa.
Not quite. Well, you know what I mean. We're not running it. We're retired from active service. We're the National Guard Reserve, okay?
We have cut back substantially.
Yes. Thank you. So with that said, Ed, why do you do this? What do you want to give the audience? What's
part of it is just for continuity for our business. I'm very thankful for all of the years that I had. We did okay. I was able to put 3 kids through private school, and each time I sold a business. It was a great treat. And so I always tell people, I said, look, payday is the day that you get the biggest check of your life and you hand the keys to somebody else. Well, am I right? Is that true?
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
Right?
Yes, you
That's
are.
right. That's right.
Absolutely.
And it's the industry. It's the industry we're in that allowed us to do that. So
I've actually been able to pass this on to a second generation. My son's in the middle of this now.
Yep.
And I'm just tickled to death. You know what I mean? I am tickled to death.
Fantastic.
And he's doing well. Well, with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Hopefully this will edit down, but we can be a little long-winded. Hopefully it's valuable to everybody. Everybody stick your hand up and wave, and we're going to say adios till next episode.
Adios till next
Polishing
time.
Profits, Mark, Ed, and Sharon, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Find us anywhere, everywhere, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple Music.
Apple. Yep.
I don't know. I don't think we're on TikTok yet, but we'll get there.
Ooh.
No.
Ooh. All right. Cheers. See y'all next episode.
Bye.